Hello and welcome to another Do You Remembaer? This is an ongoing video series where I find an article on the internet, read it, and then do my best to remember everything about it that I can and tell you about the facts of this object or person or place or thing or whatever, concept, whatever it is. And I'm talking about the Nutty Narrows Bridge in Longview, Washington. Um, it's a bridge for squirrels, specifically for squirrels. The story goes that local residents on Olympia Way in Longview were like very sad that squirrels going to different oak trees were, collect nuts, were getting hit by cars. Um, and this was way back in the 60s. As early as 1960, they were trying to figure out ways to fix the problem, a solution. And then the idea was basically proposed to the local council of like, how about a bridge between like trees so they can just like get over the road? And the city of Longview was like, yeah, let's do that. And also, I don't know if they knew this, if they made the connection, or if it was just a happy accident. But people liked that idea. It got a lot of press. It was in magazines and newspapers and the radio because it was just like, have you heard that in Longview, California, or sorry, Longview, Washington, not Longview, California, Longview, Washington, they're making a squirrel bridge, the Nutty Narrows Bridge. Isn't that? It's a fun thing, and that's what I'm talking about right here because I read the article and it was like, yeah, I want to talk about that on Do You Remember? Because it rules. Anyway, in 1963, they built this. A guy did it for like $1, basically donating his time as an engineer with materials donated by the local fire department because it is made of aluminum, recycled aluminum, some of which was originally from like a television antenna, a signal antenna, and then also fire hose. So they built it, and like 100 people showed up, and officials and reporters on the day of his dedication, and then no squirrels came by because there were probably because there was just a lot of people around. They even tied on the bridge like peanuts to attract the squirrels, but no, it didn't work out. Anyway, it was reported to the city council the next day by local residents that hey, there are squirrels using the squirrel bridge. And apparently one resident knew that because she was bombarded with shells of peanuts falling on her as she was crossing the street. So yeah. Now, if you're like, oh, cool, they did the bridge, great, and that was a fun, wacky story from the 60s. No, there's still a bridge. The several things have happened with that. First off, repairs were needed because it wasn't done particularly perfectly. Those repairs generally are donated. Materials, at least, are donated by the local fire department. One of the trees fell, so they had to reinforce it with another tree. There's been damage; it had to be replaced a couple times. At one point, they were like, "We need to move this." And they moved it near a traffic circle, which is a terrible idea. And why did they do that? That was like 2005. They were like, we got to move this. They shouldn't have because it caused traffic issues because motorists were looking up over at it. Duh. And then the people would come and visit it, of course. Because I should say just right here before we continue on the times they had to move it. People really like the idea of a suspension bridge. It's not a real suspension bridge, obviously. It's made to look like a suspension bridge because that's always been the design. This design is the design. It's been redone over and over again. But the suspension bridge look of it and just the concept of it, people really like. So it attracts attention. So if you're near Longview, Washington, you can go to Olympia Way and see that. It's cool. Anyway, so 2005 they moved it, and then it took 5 years for them to move it again. One time the city took it down kind of like stealthily to repair it. I don't know why, but local residents were like, "Oh no, someone stole the bridge." No one stole the bridge. They didn't tell anybody. It's a national landmark. It's in the registry. I think it was 2014. They finally were like, "We should make this like a local landmark." And it was like, "Yeah, duh." It has. Oh, also, one time they took it down for repairs, and it was down for a while, and then they found some. This is not funny. They found some squirrel carcasses. So it was clearly helpful. It was clearly a good thing to be there. Besides being a fun idea, it does help squirrels get their nuts in the winter without, without for the winter, I should say, without getting hit by cars. There are other squirrel bridges. The Nutty Narrow Bridge, the Nutty Narrows Bridge, I should say, is not the only one in Longview, and also has been copied in other places. It's a great idea. It's gone through some changes of its look, not many, but it almost always looks like a suspension bridge. It to this day still uses hose parts and recycled materials, which is great. And they've reworked the structures here and there. I believe the first time it was that it had to be slightly relocated was termites were found, and then there was another time where they had to, one of the trees fell in a storm, and so they had to reinforce it. But it's actually still very close to where it was originally now, after it's moved around a bit. It's still very close to the original location. It's a great story. I love that it was the 60s. I just think that's a fun time for it. I think now, if a town did this, it would also go viral on TikTok because it's just a fun concept. And I just love the idea that they were just like, okay, let's start this bridge. And then squirrels were like, who are all these people? What's going on? But literally, it only took a day for them to be like, all right, let's see what this is. That just makes me happy just to hear about that. I hope you like this Do You Remembaer? In the comments down below, let me know if you check out this article. There's a link in the show description, and you can leave a comment if there's something I missed about it, a very important detail that, Pat, how could I have missed that? But also, if there's something that you'd like me to do you remember about, you can give an actual link to an article, or just say like, hey, you should look up something about this. I'm always happy to hear your suggestions. Hitting the like button would help me a lot. Leaving a comment would help a lot. Actually, honestly, legit, hitting the dislike button also helps me. I don't see those numbers. I mean, I do. You don't see the numbers. But if you want to dislike this video, I guess you could. It would help me. Certainly. So thanks so much for watching. How long is this video? Yeah, 7-minute video. Heck yeah. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I will see you on the next Do You Remembaer?